Welcome to my selections for the 25th of the 2nd, 2025. Today I'm going to do a little bit of an insight into the class ratings that I use as one of the inputs to what I'm doing. But let's first look at how the results are going. There weren't many races yesterday, there were just 2 meetings. And out of those, we've got yesterday's results down here. If you'd stuck to these first 2 pricing staking methods, you would have just ended in a slight loss. But the last 2 have made a profit. Now, they're still all in a loss at the moment, and it'll probably take a few days to the week to win that back. But at least good to have a bit of a winning day yesterday on some of those staking approaches. So let's have a quick look. So there was a comment on one of my videos on how do I do class ratings and how do I actually work out what's going. So I've kind of done 3 very quick things here. So the way I do the class ratings that I'm using for this is based on prize money and finishing position. And field size. So it's not too hard to work out. So let's just say we've got this theoretical horse here and it's finished first out of a field size of 10 and the prize money was 15,000. Now, given that's a pretty low class race, you don't want to be giving that horse too high a rating compared to something that's in, say, $100,000 race but comes last. There's obviously class levels defined around the price money. It's not perfect, but it definitely is a good indicator to the class of the horse. So what you do is you work out the number of horses that this horse beat in that race. So you're looking at the previous form. So you don't even need to have a history for this. You can just look at a form guide and see the finishing position and the prize money for those races in that form guide for a horse. So in this one, you're going to have 10 horses because it came first in a field size of 10. So it's essentially beaten 9 other horses, and you add 1 in extra just because you need to account for the prize money, even if the horse comes last. Now, I've played around with this. Sometimes in really big fields, it's worth just cutting it off at the 10 and everyone after that just gets the same rating. You can play around with it and come up with your own versions of this class rating that can then be inputs into your machine learning models or just into your form analysis. So in this one, it's got 10. So basically it beat 9 horses because it came first out of a field size of 10. We add the 1 plus 1, so it's 10. The prize money per horse, and, show that. So prize money per horse, which is just how many horses were in the race, how much was prize money, divide one by the other. So 15,000 divided by 10, you're getting a 1,500 prize money per horse. So let's just assume they all came first and dead heated. Every horse would get 1,500. Never happens, but just as an example. And all we do is we times the beaten horses plus 1 times the prize money per horse, and in this case, you'll get the full 15,000. So the horse that would come second in that race would have had a 9 there, and it would have got 13,500 for its rating. So you do that for the form. Now, how many races you go back and what you want to do, obviously, is up to you. This will give you a class rating for each of the races the horse has been in. So you can go through the form guide and look at what it's actually been in and just calculate these fairly quickly for each horse in a race that you were looking at. Generally, I like to use 3, 5, if you can get 10 race form, that's usually good as well. I calculate a lot of these and then decide which ones I'm actually going to use, but 3 should give you a good indication of recent form. 10 would give you a much better indication of overall class. So you can see here, I'll just go through the other two. If a horse finished 5th out of a field size of 12 and the prize money was 40,000, its beaten horses plus 1 is 8. The average prize money per horse there is 333. And the class rating that it would get for coming 5th in this race is 26,000. So that's a lot higher than the 15,000 that it got for winning the $15,000 race. That's because a $40,000 race is almost double the competitiveness of the $15,000 race. So you'll see this is close to double. It's a little bit less, but it works out about right. And the last one here, let's say it jumped up to a $100,000 race and it came last. Let's just say they entered it, got accepted, unlikely, but it came last out of 12 fields, so it beat 0 horses, so it just gets a 1 in there for the plus 1. The average prize money in that race is 8,333, and the class rating therefore is only 8,000. Now that's because this horse really shouldn't have been in that race, and you really don't want to be giving it too much of a weighting there, given it came dead last. Now, I will say you do need to look at this a little bit. Sometimes horses can get injured, and that's why they're at the back. You need to kind of decide if the rating applies for that race. Otherwise, you will get some numbers that mismatch to the actual class of the horse. So if a horse injured itself or got a bleed and the jockey pulled it out and it finished 20 lengths behind the field, then essentially, do you really want to be using that as one of the figures? Probably not. Now, you can get that out of the steward reports. You can automate it by reading and analysing the line to see if the jockey pulled it up, but it is something that you may need to do manually and glance through when you're actually doing the form. Again, if you're automating this stuff, it's very hard, so you need to have ways of eliminating that, and I find reading the steward's report for that horse automatically and then interpreting some words in that generally will help you work out what class ratings not to use. Okay, so that's what I'm using to work out the class. Hopefully that gives you a bit of an insight to how that works. Now I'm going to jump across to looking at the tips for today. So let's quickly have a bit of a look at how we did yesterday. Just now, we said there was a loss for the first 2 staking plans, but what actually happened there, just zoom this out again. We had one loss there in race 5 at Grafton. There were only 2 meetings, Grafton and Albury. Brave Deal won at $11.81 and it lost. So on those first 2 staking plans, it was costing you up near that $100. That's why they both ended in a loss. And obviously these odds, while not high, are not low either. So it still impacts these first 2 a bit more dramatically than it would the last 2 staking approaches. And you'll see on the last 2 staking approaches, it only cost $10, which is only, recovered after another 10 selections. Now, if we looked at the tab ones, I believe there was only 3 selections yesterday. So those that started under the odds, there were 3, 2 at Grafton, 1 at Albury, and unfortunately, Brave Deal was one of those, so it did take that as a loss yesterday. Okay, jumping to today's selections. Now, I've done something a little bit different today because there are a lot of selections, and I know not everyone wants to take all these selections. So what I did was I put some stars beside the ones that I really think have no hope. So if you go back to my selections from last year, I was putting in horses that I would think wouldn't have a chance to win. The ones with the stars are out of this selection method, those that would have actually qualified under that old laying method as well, which was very profitable. So if you're just looking for something to lay that you want a higher strike rate, 99% plus, you could just lay the stars on BSP and you're probably going to go okay, because I really can't see them starting at less than, a 1 in 500 chance, essentially, is where I'd kind of put these ones. Now, Tab has them obviously less because they don't want to take risk, especially this many hours before the race day. But definitely those are the ones that I would expect will start triple figures, if not the $1,000 level. We have quite a few of those pop up here. And that's because they're pretty much no hope. Every race is bad, and they're completely outclassed in these races. Okay, let's jump into today's races and have a bit of a look at what we can see. Let's see if I go the right way. Okay, so starting with Kembla Grange. I'll look at the starred ones and anything that stands out. Otherwise, you can pause the video and actually have a look at the selections. So race 3, number 10, Gee Whiz Johnny. I've given that the stars. It's a $41 chance. I've also given race 7, number 9, Chester Warrior, the stars as well to lay, and it is a $21 chance. The only other one that's interesting in there is probably race 5, where we've got a few lower odds horses. There's a $650 chance in Loving Harry, and Gallant Rush is $14, and Triple at 19. So apart from that, not many selections at Kembla Grange. It is a bit wet here today. I do live near Kembla Grange. It's a little wet this morning, a bit cloudy. It'll probably start on a soft track. Okay, next we've got Taree. So if we go through Taree, the first few races, race 2, number 6, has Bygone Days at $9.50, and race 3, it has some interesting ones. Number 5, Take a Break, is at $5. Number 6, Fastnet Warrior, is at $7. And number 2, Superero, is $26, and I've got the stars on that one. I don't think it has a chance of winning. In race 4, I've put a star on 2 selections, numbers 5 and 9, Maritime Man and Shamik, both starting at 41. Race 5, I have number 17, Golden Breeze, which is $81. I've put the stars on that. And number 16, Tablet, at $101. So it's got the stars as well. Then we've got an interesting one there in race 7. King Larry is the favourite at $280. It did come up as being outclassed in this race. Second and third favourites look a lot better. So it could be a big win, it could be a loss, but let's see how that goes. In that race, I've also put number 11, Zoom Outcome, that's at $81 with the stars. Then we jump to Sale, which in race 1, number 3, Nunneong, is $10, and I have put the stars on that one, which is interesting. I don't normally put them on that low, so interesting that I've got the stars there. It may... Yep, I'm going to go with that. It's got the stars there, so $10. And race 3, number 1, British Poet, is at $6, so that's a bit of an interesting one. Race 4, I've put stars on 2 of them. Number 3, Retraction, 26, and number 14, Montgomery Bay, at 61. Then we've got race 6, number 9, Howl Sign East, at $61 with stars. Number 10, Jenny of Avalon, at $81 with the stars. And number 11, Anything But, at $101 with the stars. And race 8, number 10, High Velocity, is at $126 with the stars. And in that same race, the class selections came up with a $9 shot, which was Social Conscience number 3. And then Rockhampton, there's only 5 races at Rockhampton today. Race 2, we've got a favourite there at 480 in Cultural Spirit, number 5. That could be laid. And I have starred another horse in that one, number 7, Neo Diamond, at $41. And then race 4, number 1, Lenny Rocket's 101, but it's got the stars on it as well. Okay, that's it. Just the 5 meetings today. I think it's 4 meetings. See how we go. There's not too many selections. There's about 40 odd selections there all up. Hopefully we get a clean sweep or just a short favourite come in, and that should start to move our profits back up to break even. Just need a couple of days to get those back, and with clean sweeps, and we should be good. Okay, I'm going to leave it there. If you're having a punt today, good luck. It looks like we've got some wet tracks out there today. They're always interesting, but the form should hold up that I've got here, and hopefully we do okay. I'll try to put out that class video where I went through it quickly today as a longer video where I actually go through a race and do the examples and show how it works. But hopefully I explained it good enough for everyone that did actually watch the video. If you did like it, please like it and subscribe. But I will leave this here, and as always, good luck and thanks for watching.